When we're thinking about bearing one another's burdens, it's healthy when we can look at it just being able to meet someone else's needs, whether that's their emotional needs, their physical needs, their spiritual needs. So that might be as simple as providing a meal. It might be babysitting when someone's in a crisis. It could be just walking alongside someone in a moment of despair or when things are going wrong. Just being there for each other, using the gifts that God has given us to help and to be community with each other. It probably becomes unhealthy when there's an expectation for us to bear a burden that Christ has given us to bear. It says there are loads that we need to carry. So when we expect others to carry them, that's unhealthy. When we're expected to carry someone else's burden, that's unhealthy. When we feel used, when we start to feel obligated, that's not coming from Christ. That's usually a great sign to say, whoa, Nellie, it's time to just step back here and be really careful with how much I'm giving and what cost. When we ourselves have a burden, I think the best way, the healthiest way to approach it is to actually allow other people to come in and walk alongside us and help us. And we've been given a really good biblical example of this with Moses when the Amalekites were attacking the Israelites. Moses was given the job of holding up the staff, but he couldn't do it on his own. So Aaron and Hur came along beside him and they held his arms up for him. He didn't then walk off and go get coffee. He stood there and continued that job, but he allowed them to help him. So I was able to fulfill what God then had required in that situation for Moses to pray. And while he prayed and held up his staff, the Israelites would win, and they won the battle because of his obedience. And funnily enough, that's what fulfilling the law of Christ is about. It's about love. It's about loving each other. It's about living out the fruits of the Spirit within our community. It's about being community and being there for each other. It's about showing grace and compassion. And when we do that, we fulfill the law of Christ. In the story of the Good Samaritan, we learn that helping others really should just be a thing. It's not something that we should even think about. It should be something that we just do. That's what Christ calls us to do, to be there for each other, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of who it is, just help each other. No questions asked. Bearing each other's burdens is really about compassion in action. It's that simple. But there's three components really when we break it down. There's the one, bearing our own burdens that Christ has given to us. And not expecting others to pick up those pieces, doing what we're responsible for, like Moses holding up the staff. The second part is helping other people carry their burdens when we see a need, acting on it. Sometimes we have to convince people to let us help them, but to just step up and do what is necessary as a body to continue to feed the body and look after the body. And the third component is being willing to graciously allow others to come in and help, to use the gifts that they've been given by Christ to continue to grow the entire community and for all of us to be healthy and there for each other.